Reception podcast coming to you from Cigar City Studios in a sweltering, I'd say.
Yeah, it's not too bad out there.
I'm host Law Smith, sitting here with me on your right on the dial, left in your playbooks.
I like
Number
that.
one in your hearts.
I like that.
Mr. Armin Watson.
Thank you, sir.
Now they can see what we look like. We're broadcasting this live, so maybe we get to the point where we're doing Google Hangouts and people can ask questions live. We might need a guy to sit in here. We might need an intern of sorts down the line, but that's the idea thus far.
Somebody that we can pay in beer. And
I already got a guy.
Okay.
He could make it today, but we already got a guy. He's not reliable, but already got a guy.
That's what we need. That's right up our alley. Unreliable, drinks beer.
There you go. He doesn't know college sports, which might be a good thing.
Yeah.
You know, he can focus on doing nerd shit.
Yeah.
3XO Pod is our website. Subscribe on iTunes. If you're not a subscriber, you just go to the little iTunes library and put in triple option. You'll see someone else's like coaching tape, and then you'll see the Tecmo Bowl logo. That's the one. That's us. And then we're on Stitcher as well. That downloads it on your phone for you. That's why I like it. But you got to go to Stitcher. You got to get the app and then do it. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
Go get a Stitcher. Go get stitches.
Armin will speak for the non-tech point of view. So basically, you download the app. It downloads the episodes for you. I love WTF. I love Adam Carolla. I'll listen to Solid Verbal every now and again just to make myself feel good while we do this because we're better than them.
Okay.
You've never heard them?
Didn't we have somebody from them?
No. They had a beef with us.
Oh, they did?
I called them out on Reddit and said listening to them is like a book report. And the guy got really butthurt. But, you know, I'm not saying we're without fault, but I'm saying there's still not a good college football podcast other than us.
Like it.
No sponsors. Only sponsor is befriend us on Twitter, Facebook, and ask for Uber or Lyft code, and we'll send you one. I got a listener that actually did it.
Really?
I had a free Lyft.
Nice.
So I flew back in.
That's one.
Yeah, I flew. Hey, that was fucking.
That's momentum right there.
$25.
Yeah.
I flew back in from Michigan last night, real late. Didn't want my fiance to come pick me up, so I was like, I got it. I got a credit. Someone did it.
That's awesome.
It wasn't one of my friends, so
That's
know.
Awesome.
I think it's Law S for Uber, and then I forget how Lyft works. Just hit me up on the tweets, the Twitters, LawSmith34. Okay, so I know everybody probably does their lead-in story with Boston College, USC. I don't want to go there.
Okay.
Because I want to go. You were at the UF Kentucky game.
Yes.
I was at a wedding in Michigan, and it was like an adult summer camp almost, and one guy was able to get it on his phone. Don't underestimate Gator fans. They're tenacious. Like, it's during the reception. There's maybe my friend's grandparents been married 61 years. They're dancing on the dance floor. Everyone's like almost crying, and then you hear like Gator fans. Yeah, okay. And I'm over there watching them, but I'm watching them watch it because I think it's funny as shit. And I was like, I was drunk, and I was like, they're playing who? Kentucky? What the fuck? This is crazy. So I was getting the play-by-play from them. I eventually saw it yesterday and today. You were at the game.
At the game.
2 hours up I-75 from here. Tell me about it.
It was it got my nerves going. Like I told you earlier, I felt alive for the first time in a while. Maybe there you go. It's fun. It was fun. A lot of thoughts on the game, of course. Where to start? It was a game with, a million things happened in this game. But from Florida Gator perspective, one thing I will say, I thought Kentucky played a great game, and they look like they're going to win more than 2 games this year. They went 2-10 last year.
Right.
I thought their quarterback, except for 3 picks he threw, had some brilliant throws put in there with him.
An odd statement, but yeah.
Yeah, but
I get it.
He had some big throws, and he's a big athletic guy. But the Gators.
Someone was comparing Geno Smith that way earlier today of the Jets.
To the Kentucky quarterback?
No, just that kind of weird way. Like
Oh.
the guy makes like a badass throw.
Yeah.
It like seams it in there, but then we'll just fucking throw it with his eyes closed.
But the Gators, everybody wanted to see this year. The offense was going to be capable because they sure were not capable last year. In this game, you got to kind of take some of the yards out of the equation because they did play 3 overtimes, but they did have 532 yards of offense, threw it for 295 and ran it for 237 yards. So it was nice and balanced. But really, this was a game that was close. I mean, statistically, in the first half, Florida dominated it. Looking at the stat line, Florida had about 200 something yards to Kentucky's 100, and all of Kentucky's yards were in the air. It was a 3-3 game at the half.
Right. And
this ends up being a 36-30 game. So kind of tale of two halves. But the Gators really kind of shot themselves in the foot in the first half with some costly penalties. They had a lot of field position issues, and Driscoll had a horrible interception he threw that when they were making a drive. So it was 3-3 at the half, but you felt like the Gators had to feel like they were really, dominating the game. The defense, their third down defense up to that point was unbelievable. And then in the third quarter, a couple miscues in the secondary by the Gators, and Kentucky has about 175 yards on 5 plays. Really, five big passes. One of them, it was complete miscommunication and coverage. Guy was wide open down the sideline for a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
But so as it goes on, the game goes into overtime, and then it just got very, very zany. The first play of the overtime for Kentucky, it's a little bubble screen that the Gators have it completely hemmed up, and the guy reverses field and scores from 35 yards out, or 25 yards out, excuse me. And it was doom and gloom, and then the Gators end up being fourth and 9 from their 9-yard line. Mad scramble, a Chinese fire drill, and Driscoll gets the snap off. Controversial, but gets the snap off and throws the most important pass he's thrown in his career at Florida for a touchdown to Demarcus Robinson, who...
Not saying much, but yeah.
Yeah, but to Demarcus Robinson, who had a coming-out party. I think he had 15 catches, 200-some-odd yards, and a couple of touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
The second overtime, the Florida gets a field goal. Kentucky, the Gators, again, have them bottled up, stoned them. They've dropped them back 5 yards. It's going to be about a 49-yard kick and a face mask penalty. Unnecessary face mask penalty, and then everybody in the stadium thought the game was over. It was demoralizing, but the Gators still were resilient and stopped them, held them to a field goal, and then the next drive, UK missed the field goal. I think they missed about a 40-yarder on the third overtime, and the Gators kind of jammed it down their throat, just straight running the football, which they did really well in the second half, but. In all, I think as crazy as it sounds, a 36-30 overtime, 3 overtime win against Kentucky, I think the Gators can draw some positives. There's no way they would have won this game last year, obviously.
Right.
So there was an improvement, but now you got to go to Tuscaloosa this coming week. The Gators do, and we'll see if Alabama can really expose them. But I don't think it's all as bad as it seems for the Gators. I think there were some marked improvements, and I think really they just had a few missed assignments in the secondary that made this game get really close.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, hey, last year this is a 2-win team playing a 4-win team.
Yeah.
I love the fandom of the Gators, the Gator fans.
And I will say this: it's the best Gator crowd I've been to in a long time. It was a packed house, and it was loud in there.
Sometimes you need a little pain to know what actually feels good.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Absolutely.
Auburn was there 2 seasons ago.
Right.
3-9, and then you go to the national championship. You're like, whoa, what a swing of emotions! It makes you appreciate being a fan a little bit.
Yeah.
Anything else? No, not a lot of. I saw Kelvin Taylor ran 15 times.
Yeah, he got nicked up a little bit in the game. Late hit call that wasn't called nicked him up, but he had a good game. And Matt Jones had the best game he's had at Florida. Ran so hard. It was the hardest I've ever seen him run, and really fell forward for 4 yards at a time, especially there in the second half. They were not trying to trick Kentucky at times. They were running a power up the middle, well, really on the right side behind Trenton Brown, the big right guard for the Gators, and they did a good job running the ball. I was pleased with the run blocking. The pass protection for the Gators is probably what will get them exposed, especially this coming week.
Mm-hmm.
The pre-snap reads by Driscoll, there isn't any pre-snap reads by Driscoll. He has it set in his mind where he's going with the football. And the corner blitzes, Kentucky threw a lot of corner blitzes at the Gators, and Driscoll did not pre-snap see it one time, and he took all blindside as well.
Well, sorry, I had to write a note before I forgot, because we were talking about, even though this is a really weak week.
Yeah.
There's always someone that shits down their leg, basically. It was USC. Obviously,
right.
That was the biggest upset.
Mind-boggling to me. Let's get
there, because that's former Florida coach, so that Adazio, right?
Former Florida quarterback as well.
Right, and right in your wheelhouse. Little successes here and there with Boston College, but I mean, I remember seeing pictures of their home opener, and it was like
we talked about. There's like 8,000 people there.
Yeah, it looked like an AA meeting, not a football game. It was like there's free coffee over there, all the cigarettes you can handle. So I mean, I saw highlights. I guess you were driving back.
We were watching. We didn't get back till 2 a.m. That game went in 3 overtimes. But yeah, we were just watching on the scoreboard at the stadium, and nobody could believe it. Boston College, who has been maligned in the last few years, ran the ball. I mean, this could be the stat of the year. I mean, the Boston College with 54 rushes for 452 yards against USC. And USC, a team that played Stanford last week,
right,
who is known for running the ball,
mm-hmm.
and known for pro-style offense, no fooling you, we're going to establish the run.
Real boring I formation.
Yeah.
We ask our quarterback very little. If
right.
he gets 200 yards, he's doing great.
Yeah, and USC really stoned them, held them to 10-point game, even though Stanford did beat them a little bit statistically. So Boston College, 54 runs, 452 yards. USC, 29 rushing attempts, 20 yards. There is no way you win a game that way. I'm surprised it was as close as it was. And Tyler Murphy, the Boston College quarterback, just ran wild. I mean, this is one of those scores that there's no predictions. You could never have seen this coming.
And if you were a gambling person, when I used to gamble on college football, I don't anymore. I don't. I think it used to be easier when there was more.
Not so much parity.
Right.
Right.
Access to information. I mean, we've talked about this for 3 years. The ability of these small schools or even smaller programs to have access to information helps them be better schemers and closes that gap. Whereas 30 years ago, only 8 people had a shot at a national championship.
Right.
That and partially the voting was kind of wonky too. But it's one of those things where you look at Boston College, it was like they had Andre Williams last year. Why wouldn't they at least have some shred of having a good rushing attack? This by the quarterback in this game, but I mean, I know I loved Andre Williams last year.
He was awesome.
Yeah, but then you look at him. You look at him a little bit more, and we had to focus on him. I don't know how great he was.
Yeah, maybe it's scheme.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's just how. I mean, and I know USC had to go cross country for this game. Los Angeles to Boston is about as far as you can go on a map.
But I mean, do we make a big deal out of that?
No, I don't think so. It's
I think
something
people
to mention.
throw that in there. I think it's like, oh, that sucks. You're playing 3 hours earlier in your head.
Yeah.
everybody has a fucking iPhone, and the time changes. So whatever the time is on the phone should. I don't like it when people are like, well, it's my time. It's 9 o'clock. Like.
And this game was a late afternoon game, so I mean.
Right. It could have been at 12.
Yeah.
And that would have been 9 o'clock for me. But I'm saying, I think USC was probably living up in their shit about that. I didn't think their defense was that great, except for the D linemen.
Yeah, Leonard Williams, man. I mean, we were talking him up last week, and they got absolutely gouged. Their quarterback play was actually great. USC, the guy went 31 for 41, 317 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions.
I kind of like Kessler.
He kept him in the game, obviously, but
except his name's Cody Kessler. Something about that bothers me. I don't know why. Maybe it's like Matty Mock. I was just thinking about that. You're a grown man. I can't call you Matty. Like I kind of don't like Cody.
Yeah. Okay. I'll give you that.
Someone was throwing a theory out there. There's no old men named Todd, and I don't think I've met an old Cody.
Old men named Todd. I'm trying to think about.
Have you met anybody over 50 named Todd?
There's that one comedian that's named but he's
Todd Glass.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Todd. I don't know. We'll have to think about that.
Or Cody.
Yeah, I don't know old Cody.
Right. All right. Anyway, let's go. Georgia, South Carolina. This is the best game of the week. This is really, you looked at the slate of games, you're like, this is the only game that I give a shit about.
Yeah.
I still picked. When you're all right, I'm in a house situation with 4 other couples and me, and that's it. Mona, my fiance, could not go. She was booked at a comedy club in Tampa, and just decided, look, I got a lot of stuff going on. I don't need to go to Michigan. We need to save money for our wedding. And I was like, okay. I don't want to go either, but I'm going to go. And we're sitting around talking college football, and I'm throwing out, okay, I bet East Carolina is going to give Virginia Tech some hell. I think USC or UCF is better than people think, but they're going to give a game and then get blown out. You make all these premonitions, right? You're giving all this stuff out. You're like, look, I've been doing this college football podcast for like 4 years. I'm taking what you and Tommy say mostly, because I don't have as much knowledge as y'all. But you're throwing out all these things, just like, oh, here's what I would do if I was betting today, and then all the shit happens, and no one remembers that you said all the shit. And I'm like, hey, Clay, dude, remember what I said earlier? And he's like, what'd you say? I was like, East Carolina is gonna fuck some shit up. And
nobody cares about anybody's opinion
I was
anymore.
like, God damn it, like. And this is a place with no cell phone, so everybody's listening. Like there's no service there. So it's like adult summer camp. All you could do is like kind of hang out and have to talk to each other and look at your phone and go, fuck, I can't do anything.
So did you predict the Carolina victory?
I said they'll win the SEC East, and I stick by that.
Okay.
And now Missouri actually looks pretty good. Now
Missouri looks very good.
Well, now I'm a little scared, but I was like, well, it's going to kind of live or die on this game too, because. I don't believe in Georgia's quarterback situation.
Right. That's
we questioned that last week. Mason, excuse me. I mix his name up. Huston Mason.
It is. Yeah, that's.
It doesn't really roll.
It doesn't.
As some people call him.
Something. Well, is that what they call him?
No.
Well, I say we go for it.
So HutMa, I never really had a strong. You weren't like, when Aaron Murray was coming up, you go, okay, wow, this guy, he's young, but he's going to be good.
Live
you can
arm.
tell. He's making a lot of mental errors, but he's going to be good. I don't see that kind of ceiling for him. We know Todd Gurley's awesome. We know Nick Chubb, best porn name in college football.
Yeah.
We know he's good. Keith Marshall, I guess, is a homeless guy now. I don't know.
Yeah.
They don't use him.
They obviously.
I don't know why.
Something happened.
And then. Their defense has been kind of following the trend of SEC defenses where it's like, you're not that good, you're opportunistic, and sometimes you have about 4 or 5 playmakers. Then they had Jarvis Jones and Rambo.
Right, and they never lived up to the expectations as a team defense.
Right.
But, yeah, you could kind of see this one coming. It's Carolina. Georgia has had little to no success there for the past, I don't know, last 5 times they've been there.
Right.
So it's a tough venue to play at. South Carolina comes out early and gets the first score, and you kind of figured then this was going to be a back and forth game. Nobody was going to run away from either one of the teams.
Were you able to watch this live?
We watched it up into the third quarter, and then we went into the stadium. But Georgia, they're a pretty one-dimensional team on offense. They definitely have the handcuffs on HutMa, and it's a Todd Gurley show, really. And if you can contain them, you're not going to stop them. Mm-hmm. If you can contain them, you got a pretty good shot against Georgia. Though Huston Mason, HutMa, he had an efficient game, but they definitely have the handcuffs on this kid. It's not like Aaron Murray where they're letting him go back there and rip it. If he throws a couple picks, so be it.
Right. He's still going to throw 400 yards.
Yeah, he's going to throw for 400 yards and throw 4 touchdowns. South Carolina really balanced on offense. Dylan Thompson had a great game. I like Dylan Thompson. And Brandon Wilds and Mike Davis combined for about 175 yards on the ground.
What's going on with Mike Davis?
He's been dinged up a little bit.
Coming into the season, I was mad I didn't get him in my fantasy draft.
Yeah, we were all high on him. But, yeah, he was dinged up a little bit. Yeah, I think it's some sort of hamstring issue he has. But the backup, Brandon Wilds, looks great.
Yeah, and I remember him getting in sparingly last year, and you're like, okay, this guy's got a little zip.
It seems like he's been there a while.
He does seem like one of those 6-year guys that you're like, wait.
I feel like he was backing up Lattimore at one point.
I think he was.
But yeah, so big win for South Carolina, puts them right back in the picture and muddies up the picture in the SEC East for sure. It's going to be interesting to see who comes out of that. Right now, as we just said, Missouri really looks good. They go very fast on offense.
Yeah.
Auburn fast.
Oh yeah.
On offense, even faster at times.
Well, it just like Texas A&M, they lost too much.
Yeah.
And now, what's really funny is the newcomers in the SEC that you and I were like, okay, they'll be in the doormat.
Yeah.
And they are 2 of the strongest teams.
Yeah.
In the SEC. I got in an argument with our co-host on the West Coast, Brendan T. Gleason. I said, hey, the SEC West it's harder than the Pac-12 to get out of there.
Oh, it's a bloodbath.
I go, if Ole Miss was in the Big 10 and Big 12, they'd be number 1 in both.
I could not see Ole Miss losing a game in the Big 10.
Yeah, that's what he said. And then said Big 12, I don't know. He's still high on Oklahoma.
Yeah, I am. Oklahoma, impressive victory against Tennessee. That was a tough
but Tennessee fucking sucks.
Yeah, the jury is completely out on them. They struggled last year. Their quarterback play we have been suspect on so far this year. I think that's what's going to hold them back until Butch gets his quarterback in there. I think Tennessee will struggle a little bit. But, yeah, Oklahoma with a big win. But as we say, the SEC East is going to be very interesting. And this puts South Carolina right back. They control their own destiny again, and they're right back in the picture.
2 big quarterbacks went down. Let's give a little love to the West Coast since we get blatant shit for people think we're all just SEC. We watch it all. We're nerds of all of it. Huntley goes down for UCLA, and Taylor Kelly goes down for Arizona State. Yeah, I don't know if you can Google that real quick, but I would say Taylor Kelly's probably the most underrated QB in the country. I know it's a lot of system with Todd Graham's system and all that stuff, but they now had a shot at UCLA. Doesn't look very good.
No,
barely beat Texas. Of course, that injury doesn't help, but Taylor Kelly, quietly was becoming maybe the best, just like all-around QB
in the Pac-12.
In the Pac-12, and I'd say outside of Jameis Winston.
Well, Mariota.
And Mariota.
Yeah, they say Kelly. They say he might be a go still. It's a foot injury, but.
He's on crutches. That's why.
Yeah, that's all. This picture right here. The picture doesn't say he's okay. but he has a walking boot on and in crutches.
I got really drunk and I was trying to watch. I got stuck at the Grand Rapids Airport trying to watch college football highlights all day yesterday. They're like, "Do you want to stay around for lunch or brunch with the wedding?" And I was like, I'm going to drive 3 hours back and just hang out at the airport and watch football like a weird old fisherman.
That's like a psycho.
Well, the Bucks are going to play at 4, and you got to
Yeah.
They were like, you're for real? Like, everybody's. I was like, I don't. When you're like so hungover, you can't carry a conversation. Like, I could barely get.
I know that feeling.
That explanation, like, I felt so terrible because I stayed up the latest in the house, and then everybody's up at 8 because they passed out because they're weak as fuck, and I just hear people like getting up and doing shit like normal fucking old people. And I'm like, hey.
What the fuck are they trying to prove?
I'm hungover in here.
Yeah.
You guys need to shut the fuck up. All right.
So the Pac-12 picture in the big picture in the Pac-12, I mean, all right, so for people that were comparing the Pac-12 as deep as a conference as the SEC, I know we were trying to be nice to the West Coast, but that comparison does not hold true at this moment.
No, I don't think anybody's saying that. I'm just saying we don't.
Corso said it, but he's fucking senile.
Well, God, man, how sad is it to watch him?
I know, it's hard to watch. I also the SEC Nation pregame show is fucking so hard to watch.
I've watched it.
I couldn't get through 5 minutes of it. I had to turn channel. I couldn't do it.
Even my mom was like, I can't. No, this is terrible.
Tim Tebow, his problems with the English language are they are in the limelight.
That's what I wrote on my notes.
Yeah.
I do the weekly piece on our site, 3xopod.com, called Notes I Scribble on Napkins, because that's kind of how I live my life in comedy clubs and writing shit down. I watch Tebow, and I'm like, God, I want to like him.
Yeah.
I really do. And I don't care for the Gator fandom of him, but I'm like arguably the best college football player of all time. Broadcaster,
God, he's struggling.
You would think you put that practiced work ethic towards that.
Obviously, we're wrong because now Good Morning America signs him for like
something. That doesn't matter, dude. That doesn't matter shit. That doesn't matter shit because they're just go, oh, you know who's going to love this? Fucking Southern moms.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
He has arguably the biggest reach. When he was playing, now you have a Denver market. You have people that didn't even like NFL, and they were Broncos fans and still are.
Yeah.
Which is fucking strange. That is some zealot shit.
Wow. So
you're getting that Christian mom community in the morning. Ooh, baby. They buy shit. It's like NASCAR.
So going back now, I'm just glaring, kind of panning through these Pac-12 scores. I mean, obviously Oregon is in the driver's seat and looks like they're going to be tough to beat. I'd say right now the number 2 team would be Law's Arizona State Sun Devils, but they are Taylor Kelly-less. So, well, for the time being, we'll see how that progresses. But man, UCLA, it looks like they have Rick Neuheisel's son is now the quarterback.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And they're doing that touching piece about Rick Neuheisel.
That could be bad.
Rick Neuheisel looks weird. Looks like is part of his face like fucked up.
I don't know.
Or no. He has that like that. When white guys have like red blotch.
Yeah, he is blotchy. Yeah.
What is that?
It's some sort of skin disorder. But that's strange that he would go to UCLA to play his son. Didn't they run him out of town for some betting scandal, or is that Washington?
No, I thought it was recruiting.
No, it was the silliest thing. It was for March Madness.
This is why we need an intern.
Yeah.
To be able to look shit up. But
so.
Okay.
It's an easy road for Oregon, it looks like, in the Pac-12 to me.
Baylor, are they for real for you?
I don't even know what
they played Buffalo, so it's not a big deal.
They haven't played anybody yet. But
just insane. Same with who I really like is BYU.
Right. BYU could be. I mean, I don't think they'll get the. But I was looking at their schedule. I don't think they'll get into the Final Four. But it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for a team to beat them. BYU does play Virginia this upcoming weekend, and that might be their last test for a while. But Baylor will have to wait and see. They haven't played anybody yet. Bryce Petty, I guess he would be in the top 5 for the Heisman.
Sure.
Maybe at this point.
But who's your Heisman right now?
Well, it's hard to tell. That we haven't had any big Heisman moments. It was kind of Todd Gurley has had the one big Heisman moment in the Clemson game where he had 300 yards of total offense or whatever
Right.
it was. But we'll get to that. I'm not sure there's been really any definitive thing you could say other than last year's finalists, Winston, Petty, and you'd throw Gurley in there. And Mariota. So those are four names that definitely are sticking out. But on Baylor, they haven't played anybody yet, and they don't play anybody this week either.
Who you could throw in there is Matty Mock.
Yeah, sure. I mean, he's going to get a chance to prove himself. That's for sure. He's going to play a lot of big games. Baylor doesn't play anybody. Looking at their schedule till November 8th at Oklahoma. Till then they have Iowa State, Texas, TCU, West Virginia, who we thought has a better team than they did last year in the Alabama game, and Kansas, and then their schedule kind of starts up.
Who's a recognizable name in college football coming back? Gunnar Kiel, Cincinnati.
Is he playing well?
6 touchdowns, 418 yards. Now they're playing Toledo, so that's a shootout game. But I was like, damn, okay. Tupperville found a little guy down there. I like that. I always like seeing the guy that was like super. He was number one.
Yeah, he was highly touted.
Fell way down.
Ran him out of Notre Dame, and they ran him out of LSU.
And then succeed somewhere else because it's hard. It's hard to do just mentally as a 19-year-old, 20-year-old kid. What else? I mean, I'm going down all these scores, and it's just not even.
Should we go on to a little preview?
Yeah, I mean, we might as well talk about next week because I can't really, other than talking about Alabama's quarterback controversy, there's not, I mean.
Is there a quarterback controversy?
Well, Sims is a lot better, and he's starting, and everybody talked about Coker coming into the season.
Right.
And he's just not getting it done. So technically, yes, but what about no, well, I was going to say Tommy will eschew on that probably next week, but let's go into next week, and because Thursday.
Yeah. Thursday night, we have our first Thursday night game.
That means something.
Yeah, first Thursday night game, number 5 Auburn at Kansas State, number 20 in the country.
I just got asked to do a gig that night.
Did you really?
And same time as the Bucks game.
Yeah, it's a Bucks game too.
I got to take the gig. Got to do it. It's tough. It's not fun.
Well, we will not. Where are you going to? You're going to try to keep your eyes and ears closed to the happenings until you get back.
Well, here's the thing: when you do stand up, you eventually want to get to the point where you're doing a bunch of weekends a year. Your Saturdays you're gonna lose Saturday night.
But I mean, you're going to try to not know what happened until you get back, and then. Okay.
I'll have the bar put it on. It's at the Tampa Improv. I only got to do 10, 15 minutes or something. But Mona as well was asked to do the show, and we both kind of scheduled this as a sports date night because both the Bucks and Auburn are playing. It rarely happens.
Never.
I don't think it's ever happened.
No.
And then it was like, well, baby. I mean, as much as I love football, we gotta get on stage, So there's 2 TVs in the bar. I'll have them put both games on. If not, I'm going to bring my laptop and nerd out like I did at the airport.
Perfect.
At Gerald Ford Airport. This game scares me a lot because I don't know much about Kansas State. It seems like they're like a super boring team. They don't have Colin Klein anymore. They definitely felt that last year. And I don't know. I feel confident with us. Auburn does look very good in the 2 games we played. I think we're going to get enough running done. Thank God this is a September game and not something in November, December. It would never happen that way just because you play the SEC down the line. But thank God this is in a mid-October where it could be snowing.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
I would just assume we're not good in snow.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good assumption.
All these guys are from the South. I don't think they're gonna be like, oh yeah, we fucking rock it in the snow. I just feel like I don't know enough about Waters to really know. I don't know. You tell me. You know anything about?
I watched the Kansas State Iowa State game. I'm sure that game was a lot closer than Kansas State intended it to be, since Iowa State was coming off a loss to a 1AA team, though a good team in North Dakota State. But Iowa State really had a good chance of beating Kansas State the second week of the season. And Waters, the quarterback for Kansas State, he is their offense. I mean, he runs the ball. He leads the team in carries by 20 carries just about. He's not big. He's a little guy.
Oh yes, okay.
This guy's a little guy, and I like Auburn by a wide margin in this game.
The line's 10.
I would take Auburn with 10. Kansas State. The way that they run Waters, I don't think is going to be conducive to playing Auburn.
Yeah.
And offensively, I think Auburn will be too fast tempoed and it would be too much. The only thing that's weird about this game, Thursday night in Manhattan, Kansas, it's a weird situation. In Thursday night games, I hate when a team I like plays a Thursday night game. It is very scary always.
Virginia Tech used to have this market corner. Remember, they would always have Thursday night games and smoke people they shouldn't have.
Yeah.
I'm nervous about it, but that's just general Auburn low self-esteem. Yeah. Auburn fan low self-esteem, I'd say.
But I like Auburn big in this one.
I do like when you have someone at the tip of the spear that you can kind of cut off from there, and then their whole game plan's ruined.
I do like Lockett, their receiver. I feel like Lockett has been at Kansas State for the past 20 years. They had his dad played there, his uncle, but he's their best weapon outside of Waters. But
I think we're going to see a lot of Artis Payne, a lot of Corey Grant.
I think it's going to be a tough road to hoe for Kansas State. The only thing that's helping them is Thursday night in Manhattan, Kansas. That place I'm sure will be rocking. It will be packed. I know it's a pretty good environment they can have there. And I think that's good for Auburn. I think it would be good for them to go into an environment like that before they have to go in some real nasty environments.
Down the season.
So, it'll be I would like to say it'd be interesting, but I think Auburn wins large.
Yeah, weather prediction, it looks like 40% chance, probably going to rain. Not too bad, though, between 68 and 79.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah, that's great football weather. The biggest game, I guess, is Clemson has Florida State coming to town. I heard, which is one of the roughest.
Florida State has Clemson coming to town.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah,
I did that
Florida
backwards.
State, at Tallahassee.
Oof. The line on that, I'm trying to find it. You got it open, or?
I don't.
20. Yeah.
That's surprising.
I'm surprised Clemson's still in the top 25, honestly. They don't look good. I think they're living off of really good coaching. I think their coaching staff's underrated. I know that is not a popular opinion, especially with Clemson fans, but I mean,
well, they have well-renowned coaches, and Chad Morris, who's I think the highest-paid coordinator in the country, the Clemson offense coordinator, and Brett Venables, who was with Bob Stoops for so long in Oklahoma, but Georgia did get some special teams help, but Georgia gashed them on the ground. But I mean, Todd Gurley, that's a whole different beast, and it was the first game of the season. That is always tough. I mean, it's you don't know what you got. You don't know how your team, you don't know your obvious strengths or what they're going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I think, but did both these teams have a week off before this game? I know Florida State had a week off.
Florida State and Auburn had a week off, and they kind of moved up in the ESPN playoff ranking somehow. I don't know how that works.
So Florida State and Clemson have had a week off to prepare for this game. One thing I will say about Clemson, 20 points does seem like a lot to me. I would have thought that would be 17 or more closer to the 17 mark.
8 o'clock game, prime time.
8 o'clock game.
Drunk as shit people.
Yeah, there's going to be some drunk folks in Tallahassee. But I will say this about Clemson coaching, and they've done this to Florida State the past couple years, is they have had some cool trick plays. They did the one where the whole offensive line stood still, you know, and they dialed that one up. It was the first time a lot of people had seen that. Chad Morris will have some cool stuff he'll dial up, and but I think he's going to have to do it early and often to kind of keep the Tigers in the game. But I think this is a little more of an interesting game than a 20-point line. Though Florida State, every time we thought they were going to have a tough game last year, they absolutely blew the doors off every opponent they had.
I know.
So it's hard for me to say. But,
if you look at them playing Oklahoma State, I didn't feel very comfortable with maybe some of the decisions by Winston.
Sure.
As far as, okay, maybe we're seeing this, you know, you get a year of, you know, weird off-season stuff, and also you just won the national championship, so
Heisman Trophy.
That all kind of an amalgam effect on between the ears, as we've been saying before the season. I could see one of those crazy just shootout games where maybe, I don't know. It's interesting. We're in the middle of like Joe Kane in the program.
Yeah, the one thing about Clemson too that we haven't mentioned is we did not like their quarterback play.
No.
They don't have a Taj Boyd or a Whitehurst, or they don't have a good quarterback this year.
Right.
That's just the gist of it. And the only one that has kind of a lot of talent is their true freshman. I think his first name's Deshaun Watson. But a true freshman at 8 o'clock in Doak. That'd be a tough environment for him. So we'll see. We'll see what Clemson does. I think they will work in both of the quarterbacks though a little bit.
Just to not get a boner by looking in the stands. I mean, that's one obstacle you have to overcome.
That is one obstacle you have to overcome. Yeah.
I mean, they're the girls there. They like to dress up a little bit.
Yeah.
Almost in that sweaty kind of hotness.
Yeah, glistening.
Yeah, not like a pregnant lady glow, but like a
stripper, like a
White Snake video, almost in a jungle.
Yes.
What else do we got? We got Miami at Nebraska. I think that's intriguing.
Yeah, very intriguing to me.
I kind of like to see what Miami's doing. I feel like there's a lot of talent, but it's going to get squashed a little bit there. I don't know if Al Golden is the guy.
This game could be the death of Al Golden.
Right.
Okay. I mean, they got smoked by Louisville.
Right.
And if Nebraska puts the hammer down on Nebraska is coming off a nail biter to McNeese State. But this is going to show us a lot about Miami and what the future holds. Miami right now has an excellent recruiting class. Early commitments.
Right.
That are coming in. So this could make or break them.
Well, finally, all the players from the 80s and 90s are having kids that are old enough to play.
The goddamn Michael Irvin's nephew.
Right.
Who's supposed to be an absolute stud.
Yeah, man.
But we'll see.
That's how they're going to get good again. I bet it's just going to be the kids of all these bad, like Ray Lewis.
Yeah, Ray Lewis's kid plays there.
Nate Webster.
But we'll see. This is going to show us a lot about Miami.
Al Blades.
Oh God, there was
my favorite safety name.
There was a million of those Blades. This is going to show us a lot about Miami, show if they have any resiliency, if they have any fight left in them, because Louisville flat out embarrassed them.
Yeah.
And we'll see a lot about Miami in this game. I hope they play well. I do. I love when Miami's good. So I think it makes college football fun.
I got an upset for you. I'm going to take West Virginia to beat Oklahoma. Not a huge upset.
No, that's a big upset. I like that pick, too.
It's big and it's not. Because we both really like the offense. We like Better Call Saul, Dana Holgerson.
I love that guy, dude. I can't help it not like
I know. He's fucking awesome. So I don't believe in Oklahoma yet. Something to me that just screams like it's too vanilla. I don't know. Something I like a lot. I like Keith Ford. I like putting Blake Bell at tight end.
Is that what they did with him?
Yeah.
Damn, I like that too. That guy's a beast.
Well, just the guy's a fucking athlete, right?
He is.
Plus, it'd be awesome if you had. I always get like that weird thing where like what people wanted to do with Tebow in the NFL. I always wish there was a gadget guy that, oh yeah, well my H-back / tight end, I'm gonna send him out and he's going to throw it.
Yeah.
And you have basically two quarterbacks on the field, two guys that can at least throw the ball. One game I do like, because we're getting into the 45-minute range, Mississippi State at LSU. This is how Brendan and I started arguing, because I go, Mississippi State's actually fucking good.
I mean, as you said, you think Clemson, Florida State might be the most interesting game. I don't know if you use the word interesting.
It's the biggest. I'd say it's prime time. It's what most people are going to watch that are not fans. That's my thing. If like you're not a fan of either school, but you're going to watch that game.
Right. I think LSU Mississippi State's the most interesting game, and this is the first game. Well, I guess South Carolina, Georgia, but this is really a marquee game in the SEC. This is going to show us a lot about both these teams. LSU's been one-dimensional. So if Mississippi State's defense, which everybody loves their defensive line, they have Chris Jones, who's a first-round draft pick, a big, tough defensive line for Mississippi State. The first good defense possibly they've had since Jackie Sherrill's glory days in the mid-90s.
Uh-huh.
But we're going to definitely see. This would be an interesting game. And what's the line on this? You got that?
It's 10. Prescott, 2. Dak.
Yeah, everybody's high on him.
I just know from FanDuel. I do FanDuel, and you're picking out teams, and you're like, what? Prescott's like the top 3 most expensive quarterbacks in the FanDuel game. And you're like, huh. And then I look at his stats. It's like, oh, yeah, he's got 700 yards, 9 TDs. Throwing, and then he's got 273 on the ground with 2 TDs. You're like, that makes sense.
Well, Dan Mullen finally has his guy. He has not had his quarterback in Mississippi State since he's been there.
If the way they'll lose this game is going too much east and west.
Yeah, you can't do that against LSU. You can't.
Well, that's how they run, though. Mississippi State, they've been losing these close games. They just go too east-west too much.
And Mississippi State, since Mullen's been there, except for beating Mississippi in the last game of the season last year in the Egg Bowl, they haven't yet to have that marquee win and really kind of, get in that upper echelon. And this would definitely be it. But
that's what I'm saying. Like, that's the worst team in the SEC West.
Arkansas.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But even Arkansas is going to have like a badass rushing attack.
They're not a bad team. They demolished Texas Tech.
All right, so the 6 and 7 team are still like really fucking good in their own ways.
I can't believe Mississippi State's not in the top 25. I mean, they're one vote out, but
there's too much love going on for the SEC, I think.
But that's my interesting game to watch. Death Valley at night. It's where dreams go to die, as Les Miles says.
The worst place to ever attend a game as a visiting fan.
But, I think that's the game I'm going to be interested in, other than my Florida-Alabama game, which, I don't know. I could be hanging in a closet by fucking kickoff of the Mississippi State-LSU game, but I'll still have the TV on for it.
Sure.
A little background noise.
Yeah. I do like Virginia BYU. I wonder what the over-under is on that.
That's BYU's last test.
I'd probably take the under. We like Virginia's defense, I think. Underrated.
Huge win for them, beating Louisville. Nobody saw that coming.
Right, and you also got East Carolina playing North Carolina, which is intriguing too.
Yeah, North Carolina struggled at the beginning of the season. We said East Carolina is not a bad football team.
Yeah.
And they proved it, beating Virginia Tech. So yeah, that also that's a toss-up, really.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't know if I see anything that is super intriguing. But again, there's going to be someone else that shits the bed. But what if Washington State, my boy, Mike Leach, really puts it together and gives Oregon a little run for the money?
I love it. A 10:30 game. I love 10:30 games.
Yeah.
That's right up my alley. I'll be there. I'll watch that one.
There's 2 screens wherever I am at about 10:30 on Saturday night. Yeah. All right. Well, I think, you got anything else?
No, just hope my Gators can make a game of it, man. That's all I want to see.
All right. Well, 3XOPod is the website, 3XOPod.com. Give us a little rating on iTunes. Love us, hate us, give us something. Just don't end this episode by not doing anything at the end of it. You can subscribe, tell a friend. Tell a friend. You have a friend, right? Tell him. Does he like college football? Probably, because you're listening. Uber and Lyft, hit us up on Twitter. 3XO on Twitter, 3XOPod on Twitter, and let's get this little Google Hangout going. I kind of like it. I kind of
You're going to have to explain that to me off air.
You can basically broadcast. I don't know why.
Is that what we're broadcasting on?
Yeah.
Google Hangout? Cool.
Which is essentially YouTube.
Okay.
But you can broadcast. If we put out the times when we're going to broadcast, people can tune in. Some West Coast people might be at work or whatever. But it'd be cool to have questions come in as we're doing this.
Yeah.
All right. We'll get working on that. You get working on this college football weekend. I'm Casey Kasem.